Ohio State and Michigan meet in the game in what could be one of the biggest games in college football. It has major playoff implications, major Big Ten implications, and it's going to be fun to see how these two teams match up. Ohio State's having a season in which we've seen some greatness in certain players, and we've also seen them struggle. The defense continues to be a bright spot as well. I think that that's been one of their saving graces in certain games. You look at the Notre Dame game, that's been one of the biggest reasons why they won that game. You look at a few other games too. I think that that's really been the key is that their defense has helped out when the offense has struggled. Now, when the offense has struggled, they've turned to their stars. Trevion Henderson has stepped up in a big way when he's been healthy. Marvin Harrison Jr., as expected, has been another guy to do that as well. And that shouldn't be surprising. They're two of the better players on this team. Marvin Harrison Jr. in particular, we expect big things from him coming into this year, and he has done nothing but deliver. Obviously, he's faced some really good players, and he'll face one in Will Johnson this week. But I think that Travion Henderson has been one of the more unsung heroes of Ohio State's season. I think that he's done a great job of making explosive plays when they need him the most. Even when you look at last week's game, you saw him take off a number of times, and you realize how good he is, and you're reminded of when he is healthy, he is one of the best running backs in college football. The stats obviously won't indicate that, but he is still a phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal talent, and someone who will make a big impact in this game. If they can get the ball going on the ground, then they're in good hands. If the defense continues doing what it's doing, which this Ohio State defense is really good against the run. They're really good in general, and Michigan hasn't really been tested up until the last couple weeks. And so that's definitely something to keep an eye on when you're looking at what Michigan can do. Their defense just as good. This is going to be two defenses that play at a high level, two defenses that know how to shut teams down. And it comes down to what offenses can do and what these two can expect from each other. Because when you come down to it, the quarterbacks are under a lot of scrutiny, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But these two defenses don't give up a ton. They do not give up a ton of yards. They do not give up a ton of points, and it's going to be tough to put points on the scoreboard. So, which quarterback plays better? Which passing attack is able to open up the field? Because we know both teams like to run the football. When you look at Michigan has Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, you know they want to run the football, especially with that offensive line. Ohio State has talent and they would like to run the ball, but obviously they know their passing attack is going to be what stretches the field out more. And when you have a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., it opens up the field for guys like Emeka Ibuka, Julian Fleming, Carnell Tate. You have a number of players that can step up and really do a lot of damage. But Michigan's so talented defensively that it's not going to be as easy to do that. So running the ball will be a key. But Michigan is so good, like I said. Will Johnson's covering Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think that even when Harrison goes against Mike Sammer still, that's going to be another matchup to watch. I just really like the matchups in this game. It's a ton of NFL talent, a ton of really good college football players going against each other. Like I said, with playoff implications on the line, that adds to the excitement surrounding this game. That adds to the intensity. You know, these two teams have chips on their shoulders when facing each other. They know what's at stake. They know the importance of this game. And that's what makes it really fun because now you have two teams that win and you continue your dream, you continue on to your goals, lose, and those are essentially over. Not saying that it's completely over, but the ability to win a national championship goes away dramatically when you lose this game. Now, we talked about the matchups and that there are plenty of talented players. We've talked about Blake Corum. We talked about Donovan Edwards. We'll dive into JJ McCarthy in just a sec, but the defense is really fun. We mentioned Sanders still. I think he's having a great year. He has really stepped up in his cornerback role, not just a nickel back anymore. Junior Colson and Michael Barrett are two really fun linebackers. Ernest Hausman, the transfer from Nebraska, has been fun to watch this year too. The defensive line, I think, has a lot of depth and a lot of excitement. That's really where you'll see the most damage done is up front. And right now, Michigan has a good unit, and it just comes down to a couple things. Finding a way to stop Ohio State's passing attack, and then also dealing with the outside noise. Michigan's kind of embraced this underdog role in a way, and that it's Michigan versus everybody. But I wonder how much of that is going to take a toll on them, how much of that outside noise affects them on the field. So far, we've seen a solid showing against Penn State, but we also saw them struggle against Maryland. So we'll see. Ohio State's a different beast than those two teams, and that it's a rivalry game that's going to be intense, that's going to feature a number of bounces various different ways. So it comes down to how focused is this team. Ohio State is definitely motivated. They are now suddenly the underdog in this game because Michigan has won the last two. Everyone is kind of expecting Michigan to win a third in a row, but I think Ohio State has a lot to prove, and I think that they are motivated and they are ready to give Ryan Day a win over Michigan. And they have the talent, like I said before, they have the ability to do that. It's just going to come down to Kyle McCord. And really, all year, it's been what can Kyle McCord do for this team? What can he do for this offense? What can he do for the Ohio State Buckeyes? And sometimes we've seen him step up, other times we've seen him struggle. And you need Kyle McCord to be at his best because you're facing a Michigan team that is going to hit you. They're going to rattle you and they're going to get after the quarterback as much as they can. You have to find ways to get the ball to your explosive playmakers because he is not hurting for playmakers around him. He has plenty of talent to utilize. And to me, it just comes down to how well can he distribute the football. Same can be kind of said for JJ McCarthy. Maybe not the elite talent at wide receiver that McCord has. I need to see more from JJ McCarthy. And I understand the arguments. I understand that you're saying that you haven't played anybody worthy of making JJ McCarthy showcase what he can do. But it's not like he can just flip a switch. You don't go the entire season of playing nobody and then suddenly flipping a switch going against one of the best defenses in college football. And to me, JJ McCarthy has a lot to prove. When you've seen him play in big games, he has not been elite by any means. He has not been great. He's probably been good at best. I need to see more from JJ McCarthy. If they're going to win a national championship, JJ McCarthy has to do more. And now I understand in the Penn State game, your defense was just playing lights out. But at the same time, you didn't go out of your way to feature JJ McCarthy. And I don't want to really hear we didn't need to feature him. Why? Why don't you need to feature him? This is your opportunity to give him quality reps against a good defense. You're not going to win a national championship if you just make your quarterback. I mean, Michigan, maybe they're good enough to just dominate everybody, but you saw last week they're in jeopardy if they're not going to have JJ McCarthy step up. Last week was a perfect opportunity for JJ McCarthy to showcase what he could do, and he didn't. He didn't do it the week before. He has played bad competition and has looked good at best against bad competition. That is my biggest concern with Michigan. If JJ McCarthy can't be a factor, because we know Ohio State's going to try to stop the run, they're going to try to take that away from them. And if JJ McCarthy can't step up, Michigan's in big trouble, not just in this game, but when you face a team like a Georgia or some of those other teams that you'll face. If you face Oregon, I think you're going to have a lot of trouble. And JJ McCarthy has to be a factor. You can't just continue winning football games this way. And even when you look at teams in the past that had a quarterback that wasn't the strength, they at least threw for a decent amount of yards. And JJ McCarthy in big games, for the most part, has not done that. So that's my biggest concern. If JJ McCarthy is a factor, Michigan wins this by 100. Like they're going to just dominate Ohio State. If this defense plays well and JJ McCarthy plays well, Michigan is really good. But we have yet to see that so far this year. Now, when it comes to picking this game, I think that Michigan has been so dominant and so good that they're the favorite for a reason. Now, Ohio State has some things that they can do to tilt things in their favor, but they also have struggled against good teams too. So it's going to be interesting. I think it really comes down to the quarterback play, and Michigan is the better team. Michigan is a team on a mission, and they have a mantra right now, which is Michigan versus everybody. Because if they win this game, they're going to destroy Iowa. Whoever wins this game is going to destroy Iowa in the Big Ten championship, and that puts them in the college football playoff. From there, they have their goals ahead of them still. They still can win a national championship, and they're in good hands. But I think right now in this game, I'm leaning Michigan, but knowing full well that Ohio State is fully capable of pulling off the upset.